it's your boy AncientAlbatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew -1. No Spigs18 tonight. He's homesick, unfortunately. Let's wish him some well wishes. That was phrased very awkwardly, but hope he gets better. And just as a quick reminder, excuse me, but I'm already skipping stuff. And my good partner here, Alphadean, the other part of the Cypher Unlimited crew tonight, my wonderful partner. But as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us here on Twitch and subscribe to us over on YouTube. It is a great help for our channel, and we really appreciate all the help we've gotten thus far. But Dean, what are we doing here tonight?
Well, tonight I get the great pleasure of, introducing us to a friend who's been on the show a couple of times before. He's back to talk to us about RPG stories, Wrath of the Devs. And none other than Agis Angelomatis, is awesome. I mean, how cool is that? The man's name is Angelomatis. So, he has the eyes of an angel. He sees these things. This is what makes it going to be a good time. So we're going to jump right in, to this whole thing. But without further ado, Agis, would you like to say hello to the audience out there? And let's jump into this.
Hello to everyone. Thanks for having me here. I wish I had eyes of an angel, but I don't. And it's always wonderful to be here. I mean, guys, you're amazing. I don't know, no words. So
we're going to jump in and get going, but just so everybody knows, RPG Stories is a great tabletop VTT, and Wrath of the Devs is the up and coming Kickstarter. And it's just got a massive scope of improvements that they want to do. So this is going to be great. I mean, Al, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what we have in store with this upcoming expansion. But before we get into that, welcome back to the CU, Agis. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And again, before we jump into this new project of yours, how have things been going with RPG Stories? And can you explain what RPG Stories is to our viewers who may not know it?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, RPG Stories, first of all, to answer the first part of the question, it's going pretty well. We are happy. Everything's going amazing. So, short story, RPG Stories VTT got funded 2 years ago on Kickstarter. It is a 3D world builder / virtual tabletop. It has a multiplayer online service where you can build almost anything indoors or outdoors when it comes to games like D&D-like games, fantasy, medieval fantasy, high fantasy games, modern like Call of Cthulhu or post-apocalyptic games, and sci-fi / cyberpunk. We have a dice panel that supports all well-known games. We recently also added the Cypher dice, and we're really proud of it. Everything goes well, but there's always a but. When we did our first Kickstarter, we were a little bit unlucky because back then, at the same month, at the same time, 2 other VTTs were running with us on Kickstarter. So we didn't manage to catch the second stretch goal we had to add rule sets in the system. So after the first year of success on Steam, because after a year we delivered everything, we are a year now on Steam, everything goes well, we see that we have the power to move forward for an expansion campaign. Our first goal is to bring rule sets in, but also we have to, we will suggest and propose several features to the users and several new models that we can discuss if you want. So that's the expansion, that's the Wrath of Devs. We want to make this complete as the way we've dreamed of when we started. So yeah, everything goes well. And we are really in agony because we launched on the 16th of April. And we work a lot for the expansion because as a team, we always want to deliver fast. So this is not like another campaign that you go, you pledge, and you will, and then, you will get the product after 2 years or something. We want to deliver right away. So we are working really, really hard 15 hours per day or something. And at the same time, we have the marketing and all the promotion, all these things. And it's 2 a.m. and I'm in an interview. So that's life. Everything goes well.
Well, you sort of kind of answered my question, but maybe you can expand upon a little more, because RPG Stories has been doing like quite well over the last 2 years with regular updates. And I mean, you guys have been putting out lots of, different little tools and pieces. We talked the other day about, where you were going to add superhero models, baseline models for superheroes and things like that. So why the Kickstarter now? What is the, what's this new Kickstarter going to bring to the table that would be so different than you doing your normal updates?
Oh, I'm gonna be really honest. So as a team, because we are not a huge company, what happened is that we are really passionate with what we're doing. And I'm not saying that to trust the competition, but we are the VTT that made less funds than all the rest when we got funded. But we delivered all our promises and more. We added more things in it because we are really passionate. And to be fair, we have a really experienced dev team. They used to work in video games. So for us, it's quite easier than others maybe to add things. So at some point, we added more than what we promised. We felt secure that our community is satisfied. And at the same time, we saw that not too many people know about us yet. I mean, we are doing okay. We're fine. We have our own audience. More than, I don't know, I think it's more than 5K people have installed RPG Stories in their PC. Installed. That's important. And we thought, okay, let's try to bring newcomers. Let's try to bring new fans because they are needed, obviously. And seeing other products performing well on Kickstarter, we felt like, okay, we need to try again. Now that we know how the market works, now that we know how to approach people, and now that we have like a solid, published, released product, let's go out and say, hey, RPG Stories VTT is already on Steam. It has everything you've ever dreamed of. We are going to add really special things. And that's what makes RPG Stories, in my opinion at least, different. It's not like we have like 10 monsters and 10 buildings. We have more than 6,000 models in it. You can build anything. And you can play almost every game. The only thing we feel we miss is rule sets. Mostly, not rule sets, but mostly character sets, because rule sets, it's not something that everyone wants. But yeah, we want to get the chance to make this exactly the way we dream of. And being again honest, that's why Wrath of Devs, because we decided we're gonna do it with Wrath. Like this time, we're gonna really do it, and yeah, we're doing it.
I really like that explanation for the name there, and that's a really good point that you brought up earlier in the answer that you said that with the experience from the first campaign, this campaign should go a lot smoother or better or whatever from behind the scenes, and that's awesome. I'm very much looking forward to how Wrath of the Devs does compared to how RPG Stories did. It should be pretty nice.
Yeah. And just out there for everybody who's watching with us tonight, if you do have questions for Agis, we will take some audience questions at the end. Just preface that in the comments with the word question so we can make sure we get that on our list so we can make sure we ask those questions.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we've already started talking about Wrath of the Devs, so let's dig in a little deeper here. This new Kickstarter promises some ambitious new features. Word is that there's going to be an AI-assisted map generation. Can you give us an idea on how that will work?
Yeah. So I know that people are not fan of AI, and we are not fans of AI. So let's drop the word AI and call it procedural or auto-generated scenes. It's not AI. So basically what we saw, because this is what happens with technology. Like after 2 years, several world builders appeared where with one click you can build everything and things like that. So we decided that it's time to add a feature that will allow the users to combine assets and then draw an area in the scene and get right away what they want. So we will have some choices for the users, like a forest, a swamp, rivers, mountains, dungeons, all the well-known things. They will be able to just draw on the scene and everything will appear, and then obviously they can go manually and change everything if they want. But also we're going to allow people to say, all right, I really like that, but I want to combine this type of buildings with this type of trees and this type of, I don't know, cars or whatever, create my own collection and then again draw and get the scene. So we want to bring auto-generated scenes and pre-built scenes. They are two different things. So the auto-generated scenes is what I described. You want a forest, you're going to just draw an area and there you're going to get a forest. The pre-built, basically the team will be throwing a lot of pre-built quests or pre-built scenes in the Steam Workshop for everyone. And we have calculated that into the budget, into the funds we're asking, so that we can have like a dedicated guy who is going to really do that 8 hours per day to throw a lot of scenes, which basically means click to choose the scene, click to put it in the 3D scene. That's it. It's done. 2 clicks. So that's the first thing. We already have similar features like that. We're just going to make them, improve them. So that's the first thing, because we see that our competitors are moving that way, and we need to also do that. But that's a promise for our fans. We are not going to cancel all the super manual ways we have to build, because that's what makes us different. We have auto ways, but we also have super manual ways to go and make details off grid or reshape your models, change the color of the lights, change the object, make different, combine objects. All these super manual things will remain as a logic. Oh, we have a dog. So that's the first feature we proposed, the auto-generated / pre-built. The second is the character sheets / rule sets. So that will be, in our initial goal, it will be character sheets. And then with stretch goals, we're going to unlock rule sets. It won't be a logic like in that amount of money will be 5th edition of D&D, and in that amount of money will be Call of Cthulhu or whatever. Basically, we are still figuring out the budgets, but we are going to propose how much customizable it's going to be. So at the end of the day, what we want to do is to offer the 5th edition of D&D, which is the most famous, let's say, but that system will be fully customizable to take it and do whatever you want, and then through Steam Workshop start sharing with people and implementing any rules that you want, or create your own game. That's the ultimate goal. So character sheets for most popular games and rule sets. Also with character sheets, the idea is to give some famous character sheets with our UI, but then break that UI in pieces so that everyone can take these pieces, change them, create their own character sheets for their own games or any game, and share them through Workshop. Because we've seen that people really love creating and sharing. I mean, I know people that they use RPG stories to create, to combine and create models and share them with the community instead of actually playing or creating maps for themselves. So I get it. And that's why everything we do, we try to bring it to Steam Workshop for everyone. And the other thing, it's new models. So I need to explain this because it's really important to us. So when we first started, people we're asking like if we're going to sell models or if all the models we have are going to be in RPG stories. And now that we go to that Kickstarter and we have models in that Kickstarter, it's basically like selling models, although we promise that we never going to sell models. So that still applies. So what we've said in our first Kickstarter is that we are never going to sell models. But we might do it if it's really, really specific themes and not essential models. So what we do in this campaign is we propose really specific things. So one of them is ancient world with Roman Empire, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, which is like a really specific theme. So everything we're going to propose when it comes to models will be super specific and not something essential. We're not going to propose castles for D&D, for instance. All these things will be always for free and will be coming with free updates. Now, apart from that, if you check our ads and if you check all our videos that we promote the Wrath of Devs campaign, we say that we also going to bring several quality of life features that we don't really explain what they are. But we are going to showcase them in the Kickstarter campaign. Basically, we have a list of features that will not improve. They're going to change if the game master wants, the way the multiplayer works. So we are trying to bring more theater of mind and more theatricality into the multiplayer by adding more camera options, different lenses, things like that, first person view instead of the isometric view that we're used to. Things that probably will help the GM to make a more theatrical game for games that they are not so battle focused. So that's one, the camera panel that we have in mind. In addition, we want to bring a pretty cool feature that will allow the GMs to throw in the scene. That's really cool, actually. So we will have a collection with sound effects, which is something almost every VTT has. But we are going to allow to drag and drop these sound effects in the 3D scene, and then determine an area where this sound effect can be heard. So when the player walks closer to that sound effect, they will be able to listen to it. So let's give an example, we have a campfire and the GM drags and drops a sound effect of a fire burning, log burning. When the players move close to it, that will be able to listen to that. But if they go further away, it will stop playing. So we want to add like things that will get the system to be, when it comes to multiplayer, more theatrical. Because we kind of feel this is what VTT miss. So that's the Wrath of Devs, basically. A bunch of, let's say, luxurious features that we want to bring. And to solve another, to answer another question that we usually get is if newcomers can pledge for the Wrath of Devs. So, because it's an expansion. So what we do in this campaign is we say to our seasoned users, come pledge for the Wrath of Devs at a discount. All these things will come as DLCs on Steam, but you guys can take it in a discount altogether. And for newcomers, we say we're going to have a pledge with the original version. If you don't want to go on Steam and buy the original version, we're going to have a pledge with the original version and the Wrath of Devs at a discount altogether in one package. So we are trying to bring everyone in and promote that Kickstarter campaign. Obviously, we're going to have add-ons and special surprises and party packages and things like that. But yeah, that's the two main pledges.
Before Dean moves on to the next question here, which you gave us a perfect segue into it, I want to go back a little bit and talk about that the procedurally generated option or whatever that you're gonna add. I'm absolutely in love with that, because being a lazy person that I am, I did play with RPG stories, and as great it is to sit down and make your own scene, it does take some time to get it like you get a nice looking scene. But with the the auto generation or the procedurally generated, that's gonna make a huge difference for a lot of people. Like a lot, yeah, that's gonna be huge.
To be fair, I'll tell you what it is. I'm the guy that I've used all these programs because it's part of my work. So I've used all our competitors' programs. I've used everything that can be considered old or new. Every time I use something that is auto-generated, I then go and I change everything because I'm stupid. But I get why people need this, and that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because it's important, especially if you want to. Because as you play, because our world builder works online, so when you are in a multiplayer session, you can move things around. So imagine that your players take another direction and they go through a forest, and as GM, he didn't have the time to prepare that. You will be able to just draw a forest really fast and throw an encounter in. So that's special, especially for GMs who are not that experienced. They don't know how to, solve problems really fast. So yeah, I get it, and it's really nice.
I didn't even think about that aspect for on the fly when the players make a choice that you were not expecting. That is an excellent point.
And they always do.
They always do.
They always do.
And actually, that's something, for the Cypher players out there, if you're paying attention, this is actually something that's going to be great for us because GM intrusions. You can use this for a GM intrusion in a quick and easy way. If you didn't have something planned, or let's say the players say they're going to run into a building, you didn't have this building built, you weren't expecting anybody to go in the building because it's supposed to be a fight on the street. So now you need the interior of a building built because you got this GM intrusion that you're getting ready to throw at them. Booyah. It's like...
Now that we are doing it and we are testing it, we realize that when it comes to modern and sci-fi, these auto-generated scenes work a lot better. Because if let's say you play Vampire the Masquerade in nowadays, all right? Mm-hmm. And you want just to create a city, let's say the center of a city, not the whole city, and then go and fix a few details where your players are going to role play. But creating the whole thing, it will just take one click instead of taking one building each time and place it and try to replicate the city. When it comes to D&D, it's not always the same. And I've seen that with Dungeon Alchemist, for example. When the Dungeon Alchemist first appeared, that you could draw rooms with object scenes. You were like, oh, that's amazing. But then when you use it, you go and change everything because this is not your quest. This is not what you want. But for modern and sci-fi games, it's amazing. It's because it's what Dean said. You need a building. You have a building. And on the fly, you can do things. So yeah, it's really important.
And that's great. That's like you said, it was a perfect segue into the next question because you did make a mention about the pledges. Now, if I remember correctly from the last Kickstarter, you guys only get like 2 or 3 pledge levels. So will there only be a couple of pledge levels this time, or is there something more expansive on the horizon?
Well, okay, I will answer it. I will answer it just because it's you. I've promised not to say anything. But all right, so it will start really simple. So seasoned users can pledge for Wrath of Devs. Simple as that. Newcomers can pledge at discount for the original version and the Wrath of Devs. Okay. Then we are going to give party packages because we understand that we have a player version as well. Basically, it doesn't have the world builder. It's for people who never play as DMs. So they're going to take the player version, connect and play. And it's a lot cheaper, obviously. So we are going to open party packages. We don't do that often, like a GM version with 4 players, a GM version with 5 players, things like that. And in this campaign, we've tried that in our first campaign, but in a really small scale. But it worked for us. So in our first Kickstarter, we had 10 pledges. So only 10 people could pledge for that, who would get RPG stories, obviously, but also get the chance to request some specific models. Like, I want the team to create for me my character, this object, this building, and I don't know, whatever. So from that, an amazing, I can't say the name, but an amazing guy, we owe him everything, came, spent a lot of money on that. And basically the guy ordered the whole Alien franchise. So that's why RPG Stories right now has implemented in everything you need in order to build Alien and play Alien. The guy said, I want this, bring it to me. So we are thinking of putting pledges that will be quite expensive, but will allow people to request specific themes.
That's incredible. I just want to chime in. It's, someone said, hey, I need Alien in RPG. Yeah. Take all this money and make it happen, please.
And if you think about it, there is no, because we were looking at it, there is no VTT out there, not even 2D VTT, that has 100% Alien. They have sci-fi that you can take them and represent the Alien franchise, yes, but not the actual movie things. So with the power that this guy gave us, we got the opportunity to implement spaceships, walls, computers, weapons, everything that looks like Alien, to a degree that we are scared we might get sued at some point. But yeah, we did it. So yeah, we are thinking of giving some pledges and allowing people to request something really specific. Like, I want, bring me Tatooine, the whole Tatooine from Star Wars. I want Tatooine in RPG Stories. So things like that will appear. And let's see. Yeah.
I love that.
Suggest a few crazy things. Yeah, you know, it's the hard part, and people don't understand that. And I'm saying that not only for RPG Stories, but to help a little bit and, you know, be friendly with our competitors. The hard part is not to actually bring the models, is to implement them. So it takes time, because basically all these world builders are huge database where someone, in particular Chrysza, makes the same move every day, implementing one by one the models in, which is a really boring job if you think about it. So that's the hard part. It's time consuming, basically. But yeah, we are gonna propose that. Like, you want a theme? Let's bring a theme.
Yeah, anytime I see a Kickstarter or a game Kickstarter or whatever book Kickstarter that has that sort of pledge level where it's like pay a pretty high amount to put something of your own creation into it, I love seeing that stuff, and it's always very popular. Like, I have these friends who pay, I forget, I don't know how much they paid, but they put their kitty cat in a board game, a cat board game. They paid like a super amount of money just so their cat's art could be in the game, and it's, people just love having a little piece of themselves inside of something they're enjoying.
Now that you said that, can I share my screen and show you something? Is it possible?
Don't know. That might make things wonky. I don't have an on-the-fly thing for this. Go ahead and share it, and let's see what it does to the screen.
It's okay if it's not possible. I'm only saying it because you mentioned cats. So one of the people that pledged to have certain models, what they asked us to implement was their cats plus all the toys of their cats plus the little bed they have for their cats, and we have all their cats in it with all their toys.
That's awesome. That's just amazing.
So when we had that pledge and we were allowing people to request for 10 models, 15 models, 20 models, you know, things like that. So when we got that email, we were like, really now? Is that, maybe they're joking or something. But then we met that person.
No.
They're wonderful human beings. They just wanted their cats in it. And yes. Yeah, we have like 7 cats and all their toys, which we've copied to the letter, and we have them in.
That's amazing.
Now you're making me. Now you got me thinking. Now I got to dig up some money, because now we have to do Percy. We have to have Sir Percival and the Knights of the Round Table. Yeah, stories, you know.
But this is an excellent segue into our next question. You kind of touched on this, so it might maybe you can expand upon it a little bit. You mentioned this. You have over 6,000 assets built into the game already, and an expansive player-built library that people have access to via the Steam Workshop. Still, this new expansion promises some exciting updates, like you kind of mentioned: ancient civilizations, Roman Empire, Star Wars-esque, underwater. Is there more to it that you can mention, or is there a favorite one you want to mention that's being added?
Well, the favorite one is the bad word that I cannot say, the Star Wars one. That in all our ads we are saying it as these aren't the droids you're looking for. That's how we advertise it. Yeah, what can you do? And plasma swords. That's my personal favorite. But what we're gonna do is this. So the way we see it, how to put this without sounding non-professional. So the way we see it is exactly like in our first campaign. If we get enough funds, we don't really care. We're going to implement more and more and more. So what we are going to do, exactly like in the first campaign, we're going to implement the things that we promised and that we already worked on them and we have them ready and they wait to get released. And then according to the funds that we're going to have, we're going to allow the backers to vote and say, hey, we have access to that package, and that package. This is a, I don't know, random example, steampunk, and this is another D&D package, and this is a modern days Call of Cthulhu new package that is, let's say, in the 2005, I don't know. And we allow them to vote. We showcase a few pictures, we allow them to vote, and we implement things in. Because we want this to get better and better and better. Also, there are several features that people keep asking again and again and again, and they are not in the Wrath of Devs campaign. So let me give you two simple examples. The one is the multi-level building, to be able to build second floor, third floor, which you can do that in RPG Stories, but you can do it manually. So they are asking for auto ways to do it. So that's not in the Wrath of Devs, not because we don't want to do it, because we are already doing it outside of the funds that we'll make from Wrath of Devs. The other thing that people request a lot, I mean, we get around 2 people per day asking for this every day, 2 years now, is allowing 3D upload. So you have some models in your PC, you upload them and you play. So that is not in the Wrath of Devs, again, because we are already working on it outside the fans of Wrath of Devs. So there are a lot of obvious things that we don't promote for Wrath of Devs because we're already doing them. They take time because they're tricky, especially the 3D upload is hell. And people don't realize that, but the difference we have with all the other 3D world builders is that we are also a multiplayer platform. So when you upload a model, we have to distribute that data to all the players. And that's a lot of money to servers. So we are trying to find a way, when you upload something, everyone can see it, but we don't transfer the data all the time. That's the tricky part. Because you cannot trust the users. Someone might upload a 3D object with, I don't know, 1 million polygons and then copy paste it 100 times. What am I gonna do? Probably,
that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, everything will stop working. So yeah, we are trying to figure it out. We made a huge step now because we are going to release next week the 2D upload. Which is basically the same thing, but in 2D. So the code is there. We now know how to do it and how to distribute the data. The next step will be to check the 3D thing.
Nice. Okay, so this is like great because the stuff you're talking about just shows how innovative and expansive you are. And that being said, Brave Atlas has also expanded their reach with the Fantasy Builder software, which allows table generation, adventure hooks, and so much more. It's such a great product. I mean, chef's kiss. Will the Wrath of Devs expansion incorporate or find some cross functionality with the Fantasy Builder system?
No.
Short and sweet. No.
No.
Hey, that's fine though. It's still
I'll
great.
tell you, I'm being honest. The reason is this. So Fantasy Adventure Builder is a separate software that basically has all the amazing things that Matt Finch has created over the years. And you can basically with a click get a lot of quests and a lot of ideas and things like that. So first, there's the copyright thing there, and everything we do with Fantasy Adventure Builder, we need to discuss with Matt, find a solution to do it. That's the easy part. The main reason we are not doing it is because we see people using AI a lot. So they go to ChatGPT. They say, "Give an NPC." They get an NPC. They don't care about these things anymore. And we see that. So, for instance, Fantasy Adventure Builder, a bunch and a lot of old school guys like me use it. They love it, but we get that question: why not AI? That is a question we get all the time. So we thought spending time united the two things in the same code, it's tricky, will take time from something more important maybe. So we decided no, not yet. That's the main.
No, and I mean that's a great answer. I mean, I had to ask. I mean, because I like the Fantasy Builder. I love RPG stories,
amazing.
So no big deal.
Yeah. And that's definitely a good reason to not include it, just because it will take time and you want to focus on making the other parts even better. So, yeah, great answer.
And we have quest writing tools in RPG Stories. You can write your own quest in RPG Stories. You can use Fantasy Adventure Builder, copy paste everything in there, or you can go to ChatGPT, copy paste everything. So spending money and time to unite the two codes, it's tricky. We can do better things than that. And that was the idea, and we decided not to do that yet.
Makes sense. Yeah, switching gears here a little bit. Moonstone is a rich setting with lots of goodies already. Is there any chance that setting will be incorporated into RPG Stories?
All right, so let me tell you something. I'm going to say something in public that I shouldn't, but I'm amazed that you ask about Moonstone. Because we are not really promoting it, but we talk about our homebrew world and we have released a few quests. So here's the thing. When I was really, really young, like 14 years old, I was playing a game in my Amiga called Moonstone Hard Day's Night. I don't know if you know the game. All right. So,
I remember it.
Okay, so Moonstone was and still is my favorite game. And I really like it. And that's from where I took the name for this homebrew world, Moonstone. So I found the guy that created the game, the Moonstone game, Hard Day's Night. And I mailed him. I said, this might sound crazy, but would you be interested in making a new version and, make a revised version of Moonstone? And he replied, I can't tell anything else, but he replied, but let's stay there. So, yeah. Now about our world, Moonstone. So our next step, we're going to bring a lot of pre-built quests that all of them will be in Moonstone. So people through RPG Stories will get to learn more about Moonstone and play quests, which obviously it will be really easy for them to convert them to their own settings or to the well-known settings, like Forgotten Realms or Dragonlance or whatever. But slowly we're gonna start releasing content for Moonstone. But we are doing it slowly because our main thing is software. So step by step, we're going to throw things there, see if people notice. You noticed, so thank you. And yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, because like I said, I think Moonstone is pretty nice. I'm always on your page and looking at stuff and seeing what's up and what's coming. So I really, really like that. Um, but like most VTTs, even with RPG stories, there's a learning curve. But I found that RPG story seems to be a little less complicated and somewhat more intuitive. Can you speak to how this was accomplished, or what was the mindset you used to achieve this?
Yeah. So listen, in order to create an easy UI UX user experience, needs a lot of study and a lot of research. I was lucky enough to work with pretty good designers in the past. Also, my lead developer is amazing. I'm really lucky. He's amazing. He has great ideas. So what we did, and another thing, I have to admit that when you come second or third, because before RPG Stories appeared 2 years ago, we had Dungeon Alchemist, which is not a VTT, but it's a world builder, and we also had Tailspire. So you get the chance to investigate other programs, see what they're doing wrong, what they're doing well, and research a little bit the comments from other users, come up with ideas how you can make it more simple. Also, I don't know if you're familiar with video games, but slowly you can see tutorials disappearing. There are no tutorials anymore. Usually you get the software and you have to figure it out. So what we did is we skipped the tutorial, but we throw tips. We have a smart system with tips. So on the bottom left of your screen, the system identifies what are you trying to do. So are you trying to place an object? Are you trying to change the ground? Are you trying to change the weather or whatever? And gives you tips according to what you're trying to do. And that really, really helped the users, not us, because every time we do something, we need to rearrange all the tips. But yeah, for the users, it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it does take a bit of time, but like Dean was saying, it's like I messed around with Tailspire a little bit, and I kind of dropped it pretty quick because it was a little clumsy. It felt like not to talk trash about competitors, but yeah, when I sat down on RPG Stories, it kind of clicked. Like it takes a little bit of time, but it kind of clicks how it all works. It's very nice.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like I said, I have all of those. So I have Dungeon Alchemist, I have Tailspire, I have Foundry, but it just is. There's a learning curve, but it's kind of a breath of fresh air, when you think about it, because especially like, Al's case, as Al likes to, tell everybody he's lazy. I don't have as much time as I would like to be able to sit and just, do things like this. And it's like, so those elements, those things that you're talking about, being able to auto-generate, a scene and so on and so forth is going to be great because, again, like you said, then you can kind of go in and tweak it, and I think it's easier to see yourself
something that
modifying.
Yeah. Something that I'm really proud of RPG Stories is that you can do things with different ways. So let me tell you an example. We have two producers in this team. So one is Chrisa and the other one is me. So I'm the director, but I also produce, right? So we both test every day. And we both, me and Chrisa, create scenes for trailers or scenes for advertisements, things like that. So we spend a lot of time with share screens, building and searching for bugs. And after 2 years, we build differently with different controls. We do the same thing, but differently. So I will ask, can you please build a room and she's doing it in a different way that I do because we have too many options. We have the manual way, the auto way, the super manual way that, so we have hotkeys, but you can also do it with buttons. So we try to give like a lot of options to do things because we understand there are different users out there. Yeah.
It makes a lot of
And that's something we need to fix because a lot of people don't know we have all these options because the users tend not to read. So even if you have like a list of tips and a list of hotkeys and a list of tutorials and YouTube videos, users tend to try to discover these things. So we are thinking of ways of forcing people to discover all these capabilities that we have when it comes to wall building. I mean,
That's awesome.
I know you love to hear that. We do have one last question here before we wrap up. Are there any features from RPG Stories Wrath of the Devs that we haven't spoken about that you wish our viewers to be aware of, or that you feel is important for them to know about before they go and back this project when it's available?
yes. All right. So again, part of the quality of life, we want to bring in an initiative tracker. Everybody needs an initiative tracker. So that's one. The second thing that is coming with the initiative tracker is the time tracker. So the time tracker is an idea I have, and I think most GMs are going to love it. It will be a really simple tool. You click, you set a timer, and the users can see online the countdown. So it's for the GMs that they want to say, okay, guys, you have real time 1 minute. They set that 1 minute and the players are forced to make a decision instead of, talking off game. That's it. That's it pretty much. These are the two small surprises that we keep in secret.
I think it's great. I mean, I'm pretty excited to see what comes from this particular this update. This Kickstarter.
Sorry to interrupt. Another thing that we're doing. It's not going to be in the Wrath of Devs, but we are doing it in general. Is that we're going to allow users to type anything in a 3D space. So imagine like you have a wall and you want to paint a graffiti, or you want to write something on the wall, or you want to engrave something on the door, things like that. Yeah, because what we were doing was, so we have this blood collection, a collection of objects with blood, and we gave all the letters because in a horror scene you want to write something like hell is coming, and we had each letter implemented in, and then we thought maybe we can create a shader that people can just type and disappear. So we are doing that now with different styles. Yeah,
that's, like I said, that's awesome. I mean, you guys have been doing over the last few years, like I said, I've been playing with RPG Stories. You guys came on the show once before, and we had one of your designers build a scene from me just reading a scene, and it was absolutely amazing. And so to see and hear everything you're talking about implementing just makes it that much more, because the underwater stuff for me, I mean, you might be excited about stars, but that underwater stuff, I'm just thinking about Numenera, the octopus stuff, I mean, that's huge. I've always had a thing for like doing an underwater adventure anyway. So this is going to be something great. So, Al, anything else before I take us home?
No, just go ahead, Aggie.
Follow the link, hit the notify button, which is the hardest thing when you run a Kickstarter campaign. People don't click the notify button. So yeah, that's the call to action. Just click the notify button to get notified and be able to read the story of the campaign when the time comes, and then decide.
And real quick, it's April 16th, right?
Yes.
All right, April 16th, people. Anybody listening in the sound of my voice, remember, April 16th is the day that Wrath of the Devs goes live on Kickstarter. Back this project, people. Back it, because these guys are awesome. They are a great company. They listen to their consumers and their customers. You know, you treat it more like family and friends than you are just somebody who's giving them money. So it's really awesome. They're an awesome group of people. And Agis, I can't say it enough. Thank you, you know, for coming on our show. Thank you for sharing all of this with our viewers. And best of luck on this campaign, because I'll be back in it like I did last time, no matter what, you know. So.
You guys, you're the best. I mean, you're always so polite and to the point. Yeah, love is in the air. Yeah.
But yeah, then you can do a little spiel.
All right, guys. So with that being said, if you like us and you like what we do, be sure to join us on our Discord. We have the largest fan-run Discord of all things Monty Cook games, with games being run at all times of day and night, internationally, nationally, and everything else around the board. If you're not a fan of Discord, join our Facebook channel. Not as big, but there's still plenty of discussions to be had there. Subscribe on YouTube. If you ever miss one of our Twitch streams, then we'll always upload our YouTubes to YouTube afterwards. We're definitely over 1,000 subscribers, but we still want to grow because, you know, that's what we want to do. We want to grow. We want to be out there so people can see us. You know, if that's not your thing, you know, that's fine too. Give us a little donation on Ko-fi. Even though our videos will always be free, these donations help with little things like, you know, Zoom costs and so on and so forth. And if that's not a thing you want to do, you want to support us some other way, buy some merch. You see this nice Cypher Unlimited shirt I got on? Their new CypherCon shirts will be coming. And by the way, just so everyone knows, CypherCon is coming. Dates and times will be announced very, very soon. But just so you all know, CypherCon will be happening this year, CypherCon 2.0, and it is going to be way bigger and way cooler than the last one. But if that's it, and last but not least, we love you guys.
Yes, thank you so much, Agis, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for coming by and watching. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what Wrath of the Devs brings to us. Everything you mentioned sounds awesome. I'm very much looking forward to that procedurally generated bit. I love that stuff. Me being the lazy guy that I am. But yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, as usual, from us at the CU, we will see you later.
Bye all.